All right. Welcome to the Nuke Zone, baby. It is Thursday. We're almost to Saturday. All right. I got a mic now. I got a light. So sorry if I'm a little loud. I scratched my eye yesterday too, so if it looks a little funny, that's why. I was cutting tree limbs. And anyways, been rubbing it. I'll probably rub it a few times during the show. Whatever. A lot of big games. Georgia and Texas at night. Bama OU. Bama OU. Two fringe playoff teams on the road versus top five teams. Hostile environments. SEC. Gotta love it. Notre Dame and Pitt. I know it doesn't do nothing for the ACC standings, but in terms of playoff ranking, it's big. Notre Dame has to have it or they're out. Pitt, they're going to move up plenty if they win it. Duke and Virginia. Gosh, the ACC. A four-loss team could be in the ACC championship, and they're on my games to watch here. Wow. USC, Iowa. USC controls their own destiny. They can win out. Who knows? Maybe get Oregon next week. USC got to have this one. If they do, they can make it. They can make something happen. They're number 17 right now with a chance to be in the Big Ten championship. I don't know how all the tiebreakers work, but they have a chance. Okay. And you're like, what? And I'm like, Indiana, yeah, I think Indiana goes undefeated. Okay. Iowa State over here, I'm not guaranteeing they go undefeated. Y'all might call me crazy, whatever. They still have to go to Ann Arbor and beat Michigan. They haven't been able to do that. They couldn't beat them last year when they won the Natty Championship at home. So, no, I'm not going to believe they beat them until they do it. Okay? I'm not saying Michigan is 100% beating Ohio State. I don't think that. Okay? Ohio State just has to beat them first before I think they're a lock. Okay? If they can beat Michigan, Ohio State might win it all. They got to beat Michigan first. And I don't know. They hadn't done it yet. Okay? But, I mean, in terms of the playoff ranking, we'll get over here to that. On Ohio State, they're the national champion from last year. I don't think you should move them until they give you a reason to move them. They haven't given you one. They've done everything they're supposed to. They beat the crap out of all these little Big Ten schools they play that aren't that good. Okay. They beat Texas, though. That is a good win. I mean, Texas making that win look better and better every week. Okay. Indiana, they're going to go undefeated. A&M, I don't mind A&M at 3. If you wanted to re-rank these, whatever, I would have them 1 Ohio State, 2 A&M, 3 Indiana. That's how I would have them. But I'm not the one doing the rankings, so who cares? Alabama at 4, Georgia 5, Tech. I like Tech at 6. I understand them jumping Ole Miss. Ole Miss 7. Oregon at 8. They got a tough stretch. Okay, Minnesota, they're going to win, but it could be a little look-ahead spots. Might be a little tougher than it should. USC Wash. USC and Washington finish the year. Those are not gimmies, okay? Those are two decent. I know Washington just lost to Wisconsin. They're not a bad football team, though, okay? Notre Dame at Pitt, Q, Stanford. They beat Pitt. They're going not undefeated. They're going 3-0 in that stretch. They're going to go 10-2. And since they lost A&M, I figured they would go 10-2, right? I think they'll be in. Okay, Texas, you got 2 top 5 teams in a 3-game span. And Georgia and A&M. And you got an explosive offense in Arkansas. You got to play between that. Okay, Alabama, their path is easier than Texas to get to the playoff. I'm not saying it's easy, though. They just only have 1 top 5 team instead of 2. Okay, you got Alabama, Missouri, LSU. Hey, if they can get by Alabama, I think they can win the next 2 and go 10-2. But they got to do that first, okay? BYU, I mean, if they bake, then they should win out. Should. I'm not saying they do. And I might not necessarily agree that they do. But if they win out, they're 11-1, and they play Tech, and Tech beats them by 20-something. Are they in? Or did the committee learn their lesson with putting a team that probably shouldn't be in, like SMU last year? Now, I agree that they should have put SMU in, okay, over the 9-3 SEC team. They should have put them in. But at the same time, did you learn your lesson? Because they got handled by Penn State. Okay, Penn State won a big game. Wow. Not this year. Utah, man, they can't jump BYU or Tech without craziness in the Big 12. I mean, they blew their shot against BYU and Tech. That was their chance to be in this top 12 in the playoff conversation. I think they're just going to sit on the outside looking in because they lost those games. Their best win is against number 25 Cincy at home. Other than that, you got Arizona State without their best players. And then you got blown out by Tech. And then you lost on the road at BYU in a close game for the most part. Yeah, oh well. Vandy, if they could go 10-2 in this playoff. Very possible. Okay, very possible. I mean, they could get a ranked win in Tennessee. They got to win at Tennessee, which is tough. No, OU just did, but it's still tough. Miami, you got to finish the season 2 weeks on the road. And the last game of the year is going to be tough. At Pitt, and Pitt could be playing for everything in that game. So could Miami. That could be a big one. Could be a big one. But Georgia Tech, control your own destiny. You got at Boston College, at home versus Pitt. Then you get the rivalry game with Georgia. Okay. USC, like I said, Iowa, Oregon, UCLA. You win out, you're 10-2, 11-1. Not 11-1, you're 10-2, and then one loss team in the Big Ten. Michigan, same thing. You just got to play Ohio State. But yeah, all right. A little bit of that. Let's talk some games, okay? First up, Georgia and Texas. Georgia's minus 5.5. Total of 48.5 last time I looked. I'm going to read something off. Sacks and tackles for a loss. 3 for 6, 0 for 2, 0-0, 1-4, 2-5, 1-4, 1-2. That is Georgia's sacks and tackles for a loss. Their last 7 games of the SEC. They have 8 sacks, 23 tackles for a loss in 7 games. It's not good. I don't know if you knew that. In terms of sack percentage, they rank 128th in the country. You're like, yeah, that's not good, but what's your point? The point is, if they can't get pressure on Arch Manning, he's going to make this a game. And y'all, he got a lot of hate, a lot of crap, because he didn't look good. I'm not going to lie to you. But go watch you want to know I think he didn't look good because nobody's blocking up front. Go watch the Florida game. Everyone wanted to blame Arch. I blame the O-line. Okay? I mean, it's a team loss, whatever, but the O-line got their ass kicked. I think it was 8 sacks they gave up. That's why they lost the game, because Arch was getting hit as soon as he got the ball. They were sending him from the slot. They were sending him off the edge, just quick hitter and getting to him fast. Can Georgia get pressure? They haven't got pressure all year. Mississippi State, they did get 3 sacks. No sacks won't tell the whole story in terms of your pressure. I mean, you can get pressure on the quarterback all day and not have sacks. Sacks just finishing the deal. They got to get pressure on Arch. They haven't got pressure all year. Okay, Mississippi State is god-awful up front. Texas ain't been great, but they've been better. They didn't give up a sack versus Vandy. Okay? Can Georgia get a pass rush? Okay? That's where I think that side of the ball, that matters. If you get a pass rush, Georgia wins. If you don't get a pass rush and you give Arch time to make plays, I think we got a ball game. On the other hand, Texas is number 2 in the country, 2, 3, depending on where you look at, against the run. They're tied for first in sacks with Texas A&M. This defense is good, right? Georgia loves to run the football. Okay, they average just about 5 yards per carry, 200 yards per game. They're top 25, top 20, whatever. They run the football. Only thing I will point out is, sure, if Texas stops the run, I don't think it's a big deal. They should. Can the secondary hold up? Okay, Taffy hasn't played last couple games, and they have given up 365 to Vandy and 381 to Mississippi State through the air. Okay, that's a lot of yards. That is over 700 yards. Gunnar Stockton is playing some dang good football. Okay, last week versus Mississippi State, 264 and 3 touchdowns. Also had 31 on the ground. Versus Florida, he didn't have his best game. I will say that. 223, 2 touchdowns, no pick. Ole Miss, 289, 4 touchdowns. 59 rushing, 1 touchdown. I'm going to skip the Bama game because I got a reason for that. Tennessee, on the road, 304, 2 touchdowns, 38 rushing, and touchdown. Those are pretty good stat lines, right? Versus Alabama, though, 13 of 20 for 130 yards. Okay, Alabama, in terms of who Georgia has played, closely resembles this Texas team, I guess, in terms of comparison. Best defense he's played since Alabama. How's it going to be? Are we going to get Stockton that we saw these past few weeks, or are we going to get Alabama Stockton? Okay. Same with Texas. Are we going to get this Texas offense we saw against Vandy for 3 quarters and 1 quarter versus Mississippi State, basically? Or what are we going to get? Okay. Because Texas offense is playing a lot better. A lot better. Okay. Since the Kentucky game, they have looked good. And they like to start this game with this little bubble screen to Wingo. If he goes for 6 on that, we got a ball game again. Okay? Man, I can see it going both ways. I'm not going to lie to you. But Athens at night, oh, man. Oh, me, oh, my. It all comes down to the line of scrimmage. Who's going to win the line of scrimmage on offense and defense? Okay? If Texas hasn't ran the ball all year. Imagine if they just wake up tonight and run the ball. Or Saturday night and run the ball. Game goes a lot different. Georgia's great against the run. I don't know if you knew that, but they are. Where you're going to beat Georgia through the air. So I think it all, like I said, comes back to this pass rush. Georgia gets pressure on the quarterback, they win the game. They don't, we have a game. Georgia can run the ball on offense, they win the game. If they don't, can they throw it? That's why I think the keys to this game, Texas O-line, Gunner Stockton. Are we going to get good Gunner Stockton? Which I think we will. Okay, this dude has played good. He's an SEC quarterback. He's tough. He can make plays. We saw him versus Texas last year. Okay, what O-line are we going to get from Texas? The one that allowed 0 sacks versus Vandy? Or is this Georgia pass rush just going to wake up and come alive? I don't care how you do it. Send the nickel corner. I don't care. Come off the edge, twist, stunts. I don't care. You got to get pressure on Arch. And if you don't, they're going to make plays. Okay? Because your secondary has been susceptible to getting burnt. 371 through the air from Tennessee. 276 from Simpson and Alabama. 263 from Chambliss and Ole Miss. And you don't get turnovers. Okay? There's your problem. Like, you're not getting turnovers and you're getting shredded through the air. I don't care how many passing yards a game. Those 3 big games right there, you gave up over 250. You did win 2 of them. Georgia has been in close games all year, and they've managed to win them all. But they were in a perfect letdown spot versus Mississippi State last week, and they thoroughly dominated. Like, it was a blowout. Simple as that. And I think that's bad for Texas because this Georgia team, usually that letdown spot, they can tell you a few things. No, they are locked. It makes me think they are locked in, okay? And they're going to come into this game, and Kirby's a defensive mastermind. He owned Texas last year, and frankly, I've been going back and forth on this the whole time because I did see the path to victory for Texas. I saw a way they could win this game. Give me Georgia. They got 3 sacks last week, and I know I said Mississippi State's O-line ain't the best, and that's probably why. I don't care. Okay, Kirby Smart knows what he's doing. Yeah, Sark does too, but Sark don't know how to beat Georgia, especially not in Georgia. Give me Georgia to win. Taking Georgia to win. I know it's 5.5 points. It wouldn't shock me if they cover. Okay. Yeah, Georgia's winning this game. Okay. And honestly, as Nagy, I want Texas winning because I don't want them coming to play us and it being with them with nothing to lose. Because playing a team with nothing to lose is one of the scariest things. But they have everything to lose right now, and they're going to go to Georgia, and they're going to lose this game. Quite simply. Give me Georgia. I think Georgia gets somewhat of a pass rush, and I think their offense puts up some points. Give me the Georgia Bulldogs at home. Alabama and OU. Just another top 5 team at home against a tough opponent trying to make the playoff. Once again, I see a path to victory. I see a path to victory for that road team. OU, can you run the football? Can you run the football? Okay. Alabama has given up. They shut LSU down. Okay. 2.3 a carry, 59 yards. Barry did go for 66. Okay. Sacks make the numbers go lower. Whatever. South Carolina gave up 111. Sellers had 67, and he got sacked twice. Okay. Mateer, can you run the ball? Because the most healthiest Mateer is going to be since he got hurt, right? They're coming off a bye week. Tennessee, Bishop had 123 on 14 carries. But outside of him, They had 142 total as a team, so 19 more yards. Missouri, 163. Pubula had 61. Hardy, 52. Roberts had 5 for 50. And you're like, dang, 10 yards per carry once again. He had a 39 long, so that's 4 carries for 11 yards outside of that one run. Pubula had a 23 long run. And I'm going to build off of that. Alabama versus Vandy, 19 for 135. Vandy had a 65-yard touchdown run and a 36-yard touchdown run. You know what that equals? 101 yards. So in total, outside of those 2 runs, they allowed 17 carries for 34 yards. So can Alabama limit the big runs? The only game I think somebody had like a consistent running game where it mattered was Georgia, and Georgia had 33 for 227. Bones went for 119, and Alabama still won, right? The run game is a weakness for Alabama, both sides of the ball, but their safeties, okay? When they fill them gaps coming downhill from the second level, from third to second, they make mistakes, okay? Go watch the film. That's why Vandy went for 65 and 36. The safeties didn't fill the gap, okay? If you don't fill the gap, no OU gets that second level. X has shown he can make big runs. Mateer is a playmaker. That's your path to victory. OU, can you run the ball? If Mateer has to throw this ball 35 to 40 times this game, they're not going to win, okay? He's not the most accurate passer. This Alabama defense is good. The only deficiency I've truly seen is their safeties from the third level coming down to the second to make tackles, okay? They're filling the gaps wrong. That's the only thing. And it's not all the time either. It's just big runs. Like I said, Roberts had 5 carries for 50, 10 yards per carry. That's what you see when you look at the box score. He had a 39-yard run. So he had 4 for 11. Vandy's stat line running the ball doesn't look bad until you take away their 2 touchdown runs where they did not fill the gaps, and they averaged 2 yards per carry outside of those 2 runs. For the most part, they are stopping the run. They're giving up the big one, okay? So, you get those big runs. That's the key. You got to get the big run. And I think you got to be able to run the ball. They were not able to run the ball at all with a running back. And then Xavier Robinson has over 100 the last 2 games, Ole Miss and Tennessee. And it's made a difference offensively. It's made a big difference, okay? Next. Turnovers. Ty Simpson has 1 pick this year, okay? OU has not gotten turnovers hardly at all except for last week, all right? So they are going to have to come in to hostile territory and play a team that doesn't turn the ball over, and they got to force turnovers. You're not going to win this game without forcing turnovers, okay? I don't care if it's turnovers on downs, interceptions, fumbles, whatever. You're going to have to force them. You went into Tennessee and you got 2 picks, and then you took a fumble recovery for a touchdown. Shout out to R. Mason Thomas, stiff arming a dude for 15 to 20 yards and going for 6. Heck of a play, man. Can they do it? You got to get turnovers. You're going to have to get pressure on Simpson. When Simpson has a clean pocket, he is going to dice you up with this receiving core, and it's not going to be pretty because next up was can the OU secondary hold up? And I had them as 2 separate points, but I think they go hand in hand because you're going to have to get turnovers. You're going to have a pass rush, okay? You're going to have to get back there. You got to disrupt. And even with all that, your offense is going to have a pulse because your defense isn't scoring 20-plus points, and I think you're going to have over 20 to win this game, okay? Simpson he's a Heisman contender for a reason. He is such a good quarterback when he has time to throw. Alabama hasn't played a pass rush like this at all. Okay? They're going to get after him. They're going to have some chances. And if OU gets some chances, you get a pass rush. Pass rush causes mistakes. Mistakes lead to turnovers. Turnovers lead to points, generally. OU's going to have them. And I think they're going to have I'm going to go out on a limb and say they're going to have 2. I'm going to go ahead and write it down. 2 turnovers. Force 2 turnovers, and they can't have any to win this game, okay? And once again, I sat here, I talked up Texas, and I laid out all these ways they can win, and I picked Georgia. You know why? Because I think Georgia wins that game because I don't think Texas does those things. Same thing right here. I think OU does put up a little bit better of a fight, but just like the Boers Washington teams, what'd they do? They play close games and win. Same thing's happening here. This might be a close one, whatever, but I don't think Alabama makes enough mistakes. And personally, I'm just not betting against it. It wouldn't shock me if they got beat, but I'm not betting against it. Okay, I'm taking Alabama to win. All right. If OU can do everything I basically just said, run the ball with the running back, force turnovers, get a pass rush, force turnovers, get a pass rush, force turnovers. Those are, I'm saying those multiple times because they are emphasized. They have to do them. Because if they don't, I mean, they didn't get a pass rush or force turnovers against Texas hardly. Okay. And we saw what happened. They're going to have to do that here. You're not going in Tuscaloosa and winning without turnovers and big plays. They did it at Neyland. Can they do it at Bryant-Denny? I don't know. And that is why I am taking Alabama to win this game, okay? Because now I'm going to give you the reasoning on this. OU defense allowed 393 versus Tennessee. Now, I know they won, but they allowed 393 passing through the air. Ole Miss, they allowed 315, okay? And then they are so great against the run, right? And Alabama sucks at running the ball. I'm honestly not worried about it. Alabama, who cares? They don't care to run the ball, right? But Texas hasn't been the best at running the ball either, and they ran for 196 on OU. This Alabama offense is dangerous, okay? They got a good O-line. This Williams, Bernard, Brooks, and then Horton. They got the receivers too, dude. And Jay Miller's a good running back. I know they haven't ran the ball great. They needed to run the ball against Vandy, and they ran it then. Go look at the stat sheet on that one. Okay. There's a way to victory for OU, just like there is for Texas. But just like Texas, I don't think OU gets it done. Give me Alabama. Next up, Notre Dame and Pitt. Been big on the path to victories here. And yeah, Pitt has one. They got to stop the run. They got to throw the ball well. There's a path to victory there. But it's not going to happen. No. Last week, I called my shot saying Tech would blow out BYU. Okay? Notre Dame is going to dominate Pitt. They're going to win by 2 scores. Okay? It's going to be 10-plus win. They're going to win by 10 or more. Okay? Pitt statistically is amazing against the run. Okay? For the year, 2.5 yards per carry. 86 yards per game. That is good for both of them being top 5 in the country, right? They ain't played a running back room like this, man. Jeremiah Love has 988 yards on the year, 6.4 yards per carry. He's added 254 yards receiving. He has 16 total touchdowns. And he's not the only one they have. Jadarian Price has 568, just 6 yards per carry, and 9 touchdowns, plus another touchdown receiving. These guys got 22 plus 4. They got 26 touchdowns together out of the backfield. Man, oh man. And that's not just the only part of this offense. They throw it too. They're top 25 run and pass. This Notre Dame offense is lethal. Okay, they are lethal. I mean, I really like this Notre Dame team, and I don't love this Pitt team. Notre Dame's going to win this game by 10-plus, and we'll just go down the line into it. Yeah, Pitt's best thing about their team is also one of Notre Dame's strengths. Okay, their best thing about their defense is they can stop the run. Okay, cool. Notre Dame runs it just as good, if not better, than anyone in the country. They're 15th in yards per carry and 20th in yards per game. I think the only reason they're 20th is because they're 23rd in passing yards per game. They can do them both, okay? And Pitt sucks at pass defense, okay? They're 101st in the country, 245 a game, but they do get picks. And you're at home, early kickoff. You're going to have these. You're going to have to force mistakes if you want to win this game. I've been preaching it these last 2 games, forcing mistakes, getting turnovers. Pitt's going to have to do that, okay? And they haven't been bad in that department. The only problem is they've also turned it over a lot, okay? Heinschel, he got named starter after a few games this year. He has 5 picks this year, 2 versus Stanford, 1 versus Syracuse, 2 versus Florida State. He's also been sacked 16 times. This Notre Dame team gets after the quarterback. They get after him. They are number 35 in the country in sack percentage at 7.03. But you know what? Pitt is number 108 in sacks allowed percentage at 8.01. They're going to give up sacks. Notre Dame's going to get back there. They throw pick. I mean, this is a recipe for disaster for Pitt. And after what their coach said, I don't care if we lose this game by 100 as long as we win the ACC. Well, I get that. You win the ACC, you got a chance to get in. You win this game, you have a case to be even ranked. I don't see how you can get up on the podium and say that personally. I mean, I'm doing something, I'm doing it to win. But apparently he's not, okay? And that makes, and he might just been bulletin board type stuff and just throw him off. I don't know. Doesn't matter to me. I think Notre Dame is winning this game convincingly. They're going to win by 10 plus, 10 or more, okay? They're going to get to the red zone. They're going to score because Pitt allows 95.25% when you get to the red zone to score. That's 130th in the country. The only thing I will say that entices me is they held Isaac Brown to 14. He had 14 carries for 20 yards. All right? That entices me because Isaac Brown ain't Jeremiah Love, though. Okay? And you know what happened in that game against Louisville where they held Isaac Brown to 20 yards? They lost. Now, granted, Eli Holstein was the quarterback, not Heitschel. Sorry if I'm butchering your name, dude. But anyways, they had 5 turnovers. They threw 3 picks. Like, But yeah, then this Pitt team, they will turn it over. And this Notre Dame team forces turnovers. Navy, they didn't have any. That's okay. They won by 39. Boston College, they got 3 picks. USC, they had 2 picks and a fumble recovery. North Carolina State, they had 3 picks. Boise, they had 4 picks. Arkansas, they had a pick and a fumble. Purdue, they had 2 picks. A&M, they got a pick. And they also had a block punt for a touchdown. Okay? I just don't see it. And everyone, they stopped the run. Okay, they stopped the run. Smothers 108, Bailey 6. Smothers had 10.8 yards per carry, 8 carries, 86 yards. He did have a long of 65. Love to break those down. This is Pitt's run defense for North Carolina State. Scott 3 for 24, Bailey 6 for 39. Go down to Florida State. They allowed 40 for 170. It's 4.3 per carry. That's not great. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not great. Versus West Virginia, their rival, 58 for 174. Ty Flowers had 25 for 141. 141 to one guy's bad, okay? They did hold Brown to 20. They're not holding Jeremiah Love and Jadarius Price to 20, okay? These guys are going to, they might hold them for a half. They might hold them for 3. You're not going to keep these dudes in a cage, okay? They're going to, especially after you have 2 to 3 turnovers, which I'm thinking they'll do. I think Pitt has 2 to 3 turnovers, and Notre Dame's going to score over 30. I don't see Pitt scoring with them. Yes, their passing offense has been great. 303 a game. It's top 10 in the country. But you give up a lot of sacks and you throw a lot of picks versus a team that gets a lot of picks and gets a lot of sacks and has an amazing offense. So I don't feel like I got to say any more. I think Notre Dame just owns this game, okay? They're probably public. I don't care. Give me Notre Dame. It's going to take one hell of a game from Pitt. They're going to have to force turnovers on defense. And like I said, there's a path of victory to both of those games. But this time I'm taking the road team, but they're still the favorite. But, yeah, give me Notre Dame. I don't think Carr is going to make those mistakes. I think they are going to run right through Pitt and handle them easy. Notre Dame needs it more than Pitt. Give me Notre Dame. USC, Iowa. Iowa. They lost a heartbreaker last week. And I told y'all, I said, whoever can run the ball will win that game. That was what I thought. Yeah, the team that ran the ball won the game. Oregon had 261 on the ground, 7.3 yards per carry. Iowa didn't run the ball good, okay? And Oregon won. Iowa took the lead late, and Oregon hits the field goal, and that's just soul crusher right there, okay? I do think Iowa has a culture. They will bounce back from it. That's why they're not going to come over here and just get blown out, I don't think. USC's going to win, okay? They're in the driver's seat. This is basically since Lincoln's first year there, the best they've looked, okay? They got the offense. Their defense is far improved. It's kind of been breaking a little bit here and there. I can't get over the play last week when Maava threw the pick, chased him down, makes a tackle, forces a fumble, touchback, get the ball back, and then they bust a 20-yard run next play. Okay. Maybe he does have – that's a culture-type play right there, okay? That's wanting it. great play to Maava. That's the second time I brought it up. But this offense, number 6 in yards per carry, 200 yards per game. Can Iowa stop them on the run? I don't know. And then this USC receiving core is legit. They're better than Oregon's receiving core. Simple as that. Okay. Man. Oh. USC does play Oregon next, so could it be a look ahead? They're like, oh yeah, we can just beat Iowa and then we go to Oregon and play them. Man, I don't think it is. Okay. I think this is a big game because Iowa can blow up all USC's everything, and the weather is going to play in Iowa's favor. Last I heard, it's supposed to be raining, wet and rainy, just not as cold. But USC can run the football, and if you can just do what Oregon did on the ground, you're going to win the game. Okay. Iowa doesn't have the firepower you do on offense. I think your defense is good enough to stop that offense. Yeah. I'm not USC's red zone defense. 67% score. That is second in the country. Okay. USC's third down offense, 52% is number 5 in the country. I mean, this USC team is good. This is a good football team. They run the ball, they throw the ball, and they play good enough defense. Okay. I mean, they make plays defensively too. This is not Lincoln Riley teams of old with Alex Grinch at the DC. They actually have a capable defense. All right. I mean, let's see right here. They get after, they're middle of the pack getting after the quarterback. They're middle of the pack getting interceptions. What is that? Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry. I read the whole wrong thing. I was reading Iowa's. I'm sorry. I was reading Iowa's offense. Yeah. Iowa's offense is middle of the pack. USC, though, sack percentage, 8.28. That's 14th in the country. They get after the quarterback. I was reading that off, and I was like, man, I know I'm wrong because, I swear they get sacked. Yeah, they get sacks. They get turnovers, 3.38 interception percentage. The completion percentage is middle of the pack. Yards per game through the air is 39. 39th best pass D. Okay. They give up 140 rushing yards per game, which is not bad. 4.3 yards per carry. I mean, yeah, and most of that's come in the last few weeks. Okay. Nebraska ran the ball. Simple as that. Yeah, I was sitting there reading that, and I was like, 73.8. I was like, man, I swear it was like top 30. But anyways, looked at it wrong. Sorry about that. And I was like, yeah, this USC defense isn't bad. And that was made it going to look bad. Instead, though, I think they're going to look good on Saturday, win and cover. I hate picking all these favorites, but yeah, win and cover. I'm going to pick another one here again. Duke's going to beat Virginia, barring something crazy. Okay. Once again, this game comes down to turnovers. Duke has 5 wins. They're 5-4, and they could be playing the ACC championship, but in their 5 wins, they have 1 combined turnover, and that was in the very first game against Elon, an FCS school. In their 4 losses, they have 10 turnovers. 3 versus UConn, 1 versus Georgia Tech, and a god-awful red zone offense that week. 1 turnover against Tulane, 5 turnovers against Illinois, and that's why they got blown out. They had 5 turnovers. But 1 turnover in the ones they won. Virginia versus Cal, they got 2 picks. North Carolina, 2 picks. Wazoo, 2 picks. Louisville, a pick. Florida State, a pick. And Stanford, they didn't get one. They got 286. They won big. And they lost to NC State, and they didn't get one. Okay, this game's going to come down to turnovers. Simple as that. Basically, Virginia wins when they get turnovers, and Duke wins when they don't have them. Okay. But Duke also gets them too. They forced 1 against Clemson. They won that game. They forced 4 against Cal. They won that game. They forced 3 against Syracuse. They won that game. They forced 4 against North Carolina State. They won that game. Okay? Literally, that's what it's going to boil down to. Duke's at home. They can sling the football. Virginia's middle of the pack and everything, but everything always seems to fall their way until last week when they played Wake Forest and Chandler Morris gets hurt and they fumbled it away. Okay, they gave up 64 passing yards and lost the game. And they weren't playing a military academy. So, yeah, this ACC is a mess. Like I said, Duke could be 8-4 playing in the ACC championship. If Chandler Morris does not play, Duke's winning this football game. If he does play, and he is hopeful, the last I read, it could be different. I don't know. We'll see. I would wait until Saturday if you're going to bet this game because, I mean, the spread could, if you're taking Duke, wait till Saturday. I think the spread will change. Now, if Chandler's playing. Now, if he's not playing, then I don't know. I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know what does. I thought Louisville was a lock last week. They're minus 20, and they said, nah, we don't want to play in the ACC championship. And they lose the Cal as a 3-score favorite. So I'm staying away from the ACC. I don't know. I think Duke wins, but, I mean, I'm not going to guarantee it. They got a good quarterback, but, man, Virginia just has everything fall their way. They do. And I was preaching that they should get beat. I thought Cal would beat them. They didn't do it. And I said, I think they could get it done against Wake Forest because they're at home at night, and then they didn't. So who knows? You know what I mean? ACC is going to be wild. The two best teams in the conference could possibly not even play in the conference champ. I think Georgia Tech will get in it. I think it's Georgia Tech and Miami. Georgia Tech and Miami are the two best teams in the conference, and one of them should go. Not both, one. But it's not going to end up falling like that. And frankly, this whole conference could screw everything up. I do commend the committee for putting Miami's the highest ranked at 15. Okay, and I think that's fair. Miami, I think, should be in, but they had to screw around 2 weeks, and they may not get in because of it. Okay, so, man, yeah, I'm gonna take Duke. But, I'm throw it out. That game is simply going to come down to that. Whoever wins the turnover battle is going to win that game. We'll come back on Sunday or Monday whenever I do the little recap, and I guarantee you it's whoever won turnover battle won that game. Okay, simple as that. And one team's going to win it by more than one. It'll be like +2, +3. Okay. All right. Now we're going to break down my school's game. I say my school. I didn't even go there. I'm a Belinda Gardner. I lasted like 6 weeks and quit. But anyways, Texas A&M versus South Carolina. South Carolina's lost 4 in a row. They've lost 3 by 2+ scores. A&M's minus 19.5. A&M is going to win and cover this game, okay? South Carolina embarrassed A&M last year. We lost Le'Veon Moss in that game. And it's 2020, and then wheels up, and South Carolina kicked their ass, okay? And then Shane Beamer specifically said they're the real 12th man or whatever. He said something about the 12th man. Man, why would you say that? I mean, I'm glad you did. Don't get me wrong. I guarantee you it's up on the Jumbotron on Saturday. Okay, A&M is going to come out and have an environment, and they are going to thoroughly dominate them. South Carolina is next to last in sacks allowed. Cool. A&M leads the country in sacks with Texas. Okay. South Carolina statistically has the worst offense and worst passing and worst rushing offense, which equals the worst offense. They have the least amount of points. They just fired their offense coordinator. Payback. They've allowed 400-yard rushers. A&M is going to own this game, man. Oh, man. Oh, my nose itches, my eye itches. Yeah. Listen, South Carolina has 2 of the best players in the country, and you're the worst team in the SEC, basically. Okay? Man. A&M, you get Samford next week, so it's not a look-ahead spot. I think, A&M, I think they're going to try some stuff, and this could be a game. South Carolina's defense doesn't suck, okay? But it's just A&M, the payback factor, and the finishing games. I think they're just going to come out and dominate from start to finish. The biggest key is last year Sellers got away from 8 sacks, okay? 8 or 9 sacks, he got away from them. A&M wraps them up. They're going to have plenty of sacks. They might have 8 or 9 sacks if they wrap them up. And I think he's beat up now. Oh, man. He's been sacked twice in every game but Vandy, and he left that one early. 4 games he got sacked over 5 times. And I'm going to say A&M wins this one 42-10. I'm going to give him 10. Okay? Because, I know he's going to make plays. Okay? They got Nick Harbor, Lenore Sellers, and DJ Stewart. DJ Stewart only has 3.5 sacks this year. So, you got to feel for South Carolina. They're so close. And if any year they was going to get in, it would have been last year. Okay? Now they're this is bad, man. They lost too much. to truly compete, and they thought they were going to compete, and it just didn't happen. Okay, sucks for their fans, but I mean, I think A&M comes out and just owns them. Okay, it's going to be loud for an 11 a.m. game. Put it that way. Indiana and Wisconsin. Wisconsin just beat Washington. Look out! They've only scored over 14 times, 2 times this year. One was a 17-0 win against Miami, Ohio, and the other was a 42-10 win against Middle Tennessee State. They haven't scored over 14 against a Power 5 team. Simple as that. Okay? I mean, but they kept it close with Oregon. I mean, it's a 30-point spread. Their defense is good. The under's hitting 7 of 9 games. Okay? But Indiana coming off a close game with Penn State. I mean, I think they're going to come back home and just beat the dog crap out of them, to be honest. Just like Iowa and Ohio State did to Wisconsin, I think that happens again. Okay, I'm not touching this game because I can see Wisconsin played Oregon close. They beat Washington, but yeah, Indiana's winning the game. Simple as that. Okay, no reason to dive further into that. Wisconsin chooses to keep Fickle. At least the teams, I mean, they're playing since they decided that they've played a lot better. But yeah, give me Indiana. I'm not even going to dive too deep in that. Michigan at Northwestern. This could be a little trouble. Okay, if Michigan don't show up to play, Northwestern will give them a game, right? But Michigan has the 12th ranked rushing offense and defense, and Northwestern has 65th ranked run defense. Okay, Michigan's going to win this game on the ground per usual, and they're going to win. Okay, simple as that. Cincinnati, Arizona. And everyone's like, why are you talking about this one already? Yeah. Cincinnati plays BYU next week on the road. Right at home. I'm sorry. BYU at home. Cincinnati's 5-0 at home. Got BYU next week. You just got to play Arizona first. Arizona is 1-2 on the road. They're basically out of all Big 12 conversation for the championship. Arizona's not a bad team, okay? Keep in mind, they took BYU to overtime, okay? Their defense statistically is pretty good. They can throw the ball on offense. 6.5 or 7-point dogs right now. Yeah, Arizona's going to cover this one. Look ahead spot for Cincinnati. Perfect spot for Arizona to come in on the road and compete. Okay, I like that. I like that a lot. Arizona's going to cover. I don't know about win. Okay, because Cincinnati is a better team more than likely. They're at home. Arizona's going to cover. Complete look ahead spot for Cincinnati, who still has to. I mean, they got to win. They got to win next week versus BYU, and they can get to the Big 12 championship, but they're not going to. Okay? Simple as that. They're not going to get to the Big 12 championship. Sorry. I don't think so. But, yeah, the look-ahead spot, Arizona covers. Navy and USF. Okay? This game, last 2 years, has flipped. South Florida's been good against the run. Navy, as you know, runs the damn ball. Right? So, 2 years ago, South Florida won. Navy had 242 rushing. Last year, Navy won. They had 323 rushing. UTSA couldn't run the ball on them. Memphis struggled to run the ball on them. FAU absolutely could not run the ball on them. And North Texas hardly ran it. The only team that's had success somewhat at running the football against them was Charlotte, and they had 130 for 3.9 a carry. Navy's plus 10.5. They're going to try to control the clock per usual. I'm assuming Horvath is playing against against Notre Dame, I'm sorry. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I'm not going to make a pick on this game or nothing. I mean, it wouldn't shock me if Navy covered at all. But, yeah, no. USF, they want to be the G5 playoff team, and they are in the driver's seat to do so. But, yeah, I ain't got to pick on it. I just want to talk about it a little bit. Always good to bring up our nation's troops playing a football game. This is one I actually do want to talk about. LSU and Arkansas. This one could be fun. Okay. Everyone wants to say it's Arkansas's offense versus LSU's defense, and yes, I agree. But determine who wins this game, it's going to be the other side of the ball that proves it. Can the LSU offense get going, or can the Arkansas defense get going? Which one shows up? Okay? Whichever one shows up more on the opposite side of the good, I think is the one who wins. Okay? The Arky has a great O, terrible D. LSU has a pretty good D, a terrible O. Whichever one of those shows up. LSU O, Arky D. That's your winner right there. You're going to ask which quarterback's playing. The last I read was LSU's going to play both of them. Personally, play Van Buren. I know he only has one game left for his red shirt. I don't know if he wants to take the red shirt. I'm not in on all that. So I have no clue. I really don't know. I would play Van Buren. He gives you the best chance to win if you're LSU, honestly. He's a mobile quarterback. You don't have an offensive line. And he knows how to run for his life. He played at Mississippi State last year, okay? So he knows how to just run and make plays and do stuff, right? Play Van Buren. He probably should have been starting all year once you realize your offensive line was trash and Garrett Nussmeier got the yips. But that game excites me. It's going to be a fun one to watch, I think. I'm going to go with LSU if Van Buren plays more than Nussmeier. Okay? If he doesn't, Arkansas wins. Possibly. I don't know. Arkansas just can't win football games, man. But yeah, I'm going to go with LSU. That one's a fun game to me. I'm telling you. Man, if the LSU offense plays Van Buren, I think they drop. If he played the whole game, they would drop 40 on Arkansas. If he played the whole game. Just being honest. But I doubt he does. Anyways, North Texas at UAB. North Texas still has a chance at the playoff as a G5 team. Playing UAB, who's 1-4 in their last 5. You know who they beat, though? They beat Memphis. Okay? And Memphis was ranked when they went in there. Oh, it's probably bounced on the mic. You should not hear that. But yeah, UAB, they got 1 in their last 5, but it was against Memphis. Could it be against North Texas? They get them at home. We'll see. Texas Tech against UCF. Could it be a letdown spot? How does UCF respond after basically losing another one they had a chance to win? I don't think it matters. I think Tech owns them. I think UCF is done for the year, and Tech is just getting started. Okay. Utah at Baylor. Okay, this one's they're minus 8.5 on the road. And anybody who's watched Utah football knows they play a lot better at home. A lot better at home. And Utah has to have this, okay? They do. And they can win out, and they still have the slim chance, I think, of making the playoffs. I know they're number 13, but I still would believe they're on the outside looking in more than the teams ranked behind them, okay? Because you lost to BYU and you lost to Tech. And there's almost no way you can get in the Big 12 championship. Almost. There is a path. I'm not really I mean, you need BYU to just lose, okay? And you need Cincinnati to lose. But you do have the tiebreaker on them, but you have more Big 12 losses. So, yeah. Baylor's offense, they can play football. Simple as that. Their offense can play, but their defense can't. Okay, I can see this being a high-scoring game, and it is at Baylor. So, I mean, we'll see what happens here. It's a night game. I would take Baylor to cover, to be honest with you. I mean, Utah is not the same team on the road for years. That's how it's always been. They are a far different team on the road. For as weird as that sounds, they are far different on the road. Okay, I know teams play better at home, but theirs is way, way more enhanced on that. Okay, and Baylor has some absolute playmakers out there at receiver, and I mean, you give them 9 points, yeah, they can cover that. Okay, they're at home, they can cover that. Their defense is not going to be able to stop Utah whatsoever, and Utah might physically just break them like Auburn did. I imagine Utah have a same style game plan. They're going to run their quarterback a lot. They're just going to run the ball, just like Auburn did. And you're going to make progress with that on Baylor, but Baylor's offense is good enough to hang with you. Simple as that. Utah was going to win, Baylor covered. Miami versus North Carolina State. Miami's 6-1 at home. Oh. Versus. I'm sorry, I wrote at. Yeah, Miami's at home. North Carolina State's 1-3 on the road. Must-win game for Miami. Just don't turn the ball over. You just don't turn the ball over. Your defense plays good enough, you get the win, because the next 2 weeks on the road to finish the season are going to be tough, okay? Virginia Tech, maybe not, but Pitt, Virginia Tech could be tough. It's a look-ahead spot to Pitt. Pitt's going to be tough. You've got to win this game to keep on going. You're the best team in the ACC. Go prove it. You laid 2 eggs. Okay, get over it. Win out, okay? If you win out, you might get in. Simple as that. Georgia Tech, look-ahead spot versus Boston College. Simple as that. They're minus 16.5. I'm not touching this game. I don't care if it is a look-ahead spot, because Georgia Tech will just run the ball right down Boston College's throat, okay? Boston College, they're just not good enough to compete with them, but they do play Pitt next week, okay? And as the only reason Boston College might have a chance, because Georgia Tech's already looking the next week, but I doubt it. I think they take care of business versus Boston College. Ole Miss versus Florida. Is Kiffin coaching against his new team? We don't know. I think Florida's broken. Dude, that Kentucky loss is bad. Bad. But it could be a bounce back spot, okay? Could you go beat your new coach? Is he going to coach there? I don't know. If I'm Kiffin, I'm staying at Ole Miss. Just being honest. You could build like you got to choose between how you want to be perceived, right? And he already has a look, but if he stays at Ole Miss, he could become a legend type at Ole Miss. He could have a statue at Ole Miss. If he leaves, he is going to be so hated, man. So hated. He's not the most liked guy to begin with, but you leave Ole Miss, you are truly going to be hated by that fan base, even more than you were by Tennessee's, okay? More than you were by USC's. Ole Miss going to win that one. I mean, Florida beat them last year, payback spot, and Kiffin's probably want to show out a little. All right. Ohio State versus UCLA, 32.5-point. Jesus, poor UCLA. I think this one could end up like the Indiana game, but who knows? I mean, Ohio State might lay an egg. Okay, they started off slow last week versus Purdue. UCLA, I mean, they got some stuff over there, but I mean, Ohio State's gonna win. It'd be stupid not to say it. All right, these next two, I'm really intrigued by. Okay, and that's what we're gonna end the show with. These next two, but Missouri minus 7.5 versus Mississippi State. If Shapen doesn't play and it's Kamario Taylor at quarterback, give me Mississippi State to cover. Okay, I think Missouri's offense is gonna look far better than it did last week. Okay. You're not playing A&M this week. You're just playing another Maroon team. I love Kamario Taylor, man. I think he is going to be an absolute stud. Start him, please, Mississippi State. Please, start him. That's all I'm asking. If you start him, I bet you cover. Okay, that dude is an absolute playmaker. Well, is he going to make mistakes? More than likely, yeah, you're playing on the road if you start. He's the best QB in that room, man. I don't care if he's a freshman. Play him. If you play him, you cover against Missouri. Simple as that. Absolute playmaker, man. He can run. He can sling it. Great player. He's going to be great. Trust me. Trust me. Calling it now. 3 years from now, Kamario Taylor in the Heisman conversation. You'll see. Or 2 years, I guess. BYU minus 4.5 versus TCU. Listen, it's a bounce back spot for BYU. TCU just got beat by Iowa State. TCU can sling the damn ball, and they aren't bad against the run. Okay? They got a chance. I mean, you're on the road versus the number 12 team in the country. That's tough. Okay? You could play big time spoiler right here. How broken is BYU after that loss? I don't think they are. Okay? They're coached well. They're going to come out and they're going to be ready to play. But how you beat them, I think, is you throw the ball. Okay? You got to stop the run on defense and you got to throw the ball on offense. TCU can do that. Will they do it? I don't know. But can they? Yes, absolutely. And BYU has Cincy next week because they could be looking ahead. TCU could blow it all up in the Big 12 if they can win that game. Yeah, I'm going to do it. Give me TCU to cover. TCU to cover. On the road at BYU at night. Give me TCU to cover. I don't love it, and it wouldn't shock me if they get beat the crap out of, but give it to me. All right. Oh, me. Oh, my. Big week, man. I mean, there's a lot. I can't wait for this Georgia-Texas game, man. Georgia and Texas is going to be a good one. I mean, we get to start the day off. The Aggies get to beat South Carolina, and then we get to go right into OU, Bama, right into Texas and Georgia. I mean, that's a great. Well, thank y'all for tuning in. I'm going to try to do the recap on Saturday night after the games. We'll see. Probably won't be able to. And then I might drop an NFL video on Sunday, but, I mean, we'll see what happens. I don't really know. I don't know. I won't drop it on Sunday because I work. But, yeah. Thanks for tuning in. Nuke Zone out.